Hey everyone, this is Kieran. Today's exercise is looking at the horse stance. It's a great exercise for learning to develop mobility through the hips, particularly if you're trying to learn like side splits or just increase your ability for squat depth. So if it sounds like these are some things you're looking for, then this will be a great exercise for you. I think the horse stance has been getting a lot more attention, at least in the Western world recently, particularly with like an influx of programs and methodology coming out around adult flexibility. Not that that stuff wasn't there before, but I think it's just becoming a little more digitized and put online, which is, really great to see in terms of accessibility to material. And this is one of those exercises that has like a really potent effect in a wide sense for lots of various reasons. I use it a lot for teaching people balance and how to put weight into their heels, but then we also do it if we want to get sort of a dissociation between their pelvis and their femur and learn how to create this like external rotation, abduction with their pelvis going the other way, which is required for things like side splits or certain depths of squat. So to give you an idea, the way to grade it, you can just be done in many ways, but this is the way I do it. I'm going to start with feet together, and most people are going to be happy to start with a 3-step. So if we go 1, toes first, 2 with the heels, 3, okay? And kind of 45-ish degrees, everyone's going to have a slightly different position, which is most comfortable. And then the idea is you're going to tilt your pelvis forward, okay? So if I'm in this position, and I tilt the pelvis forward, get a little bit closer, tilting forward like that. Now, it's not saying that we have to squat like this all the time, but we're just trying for this exercise to bias a certain direction of the pelvis while the legs go a different way, dissociation, creating different things that are going to happen. So I've created that anterior tilt, or that pelvis going forward, and I want to not go deeper than when I start to lose it. So have your hands, my fingers are on the front, kind of on these bones, and at the back here, I'm still sitting onto the pelvis bone. I'm not on the tailbone area. I'm in that pelvis bone there. And I'm not going to go deeper than when I feel like I'm going to lose that. So let's just adjust this mic. And the idea is that I'm working towards being able to maintain that position. So I'd say for me, it's about there. If I go any deeper than that, see how I'll start to round? And I'm trying to just stay just at that point, right? And once you can get to the level where your pelvis is level with your knees, so if we go into 3-step again, so we're going 1, 2, 3, getting that tilt, coming down, and my pelvis is level with my knees, then for me, I've got permission to then move out to a 5-step. And so 5 is going to be 4, 5, and now I'm pretty wide, and we'll start to see that, okay, I can't go deeper than that without losing the tilt of my pelvis, but my pelvis isn't the height of my knees, and so over time, I'll start to develop more and more depth. And you can build up to minute holds here. Some people build up to some interesting numbers, like 5-minute holds, but just really, I think the time under tension and staying in one position gives you a sense of feeling where you are, which kind of leads to the balance point of this exercise. So if I go back to our 3-step, now my balance, my base of support is my foot, my heel to my toe. So that distance, if my mass moves outside of that, I have to be able to control it. And that control is going to come mainly around the pelvis because that's where most of our mass is. And the idea being that at some point, in keeping the seesaw balanced, I'm going to have an equal amount of weight on either side. So either my rib cage is going to be on one end of that fulcrum, my pelvis on the other, or we may not see the movement. We may just know that I'm not falling, so there's actually an opposing force going on. I'm opposing the weight of my pelvis with enough force from my muscles. Now, to be able to create that tension while generating the flexibility is the goal of the exercise. So I encourage people to do the tilt, drop down, get to your point just before you feel like you're going to lose that tilt, and try and be as tall as you can. So I'm trying not to lean forward like this. Be as tall as you can. So I'm engaging a ton of muscles to be able to do that, but the simple cue of staying tall takes care of all that engagement instead of having to think about muscles. And now play around with leaning forward into your toes and leaning back into your heels, and just see the edge of where you're going to lose your balance. And then you're trying to find, okay, if I go into my heels, I've really got a lot less room for error. I can go pretty far onto my toes. I can even come up on here if I wanted. So I'm way more competent that way. Makes sense anyway with the muscles, but I want to be better on my heels. So I'm going to sit there, and it means now my back and my glutes are just going to have to work harder to push me forward so I don't fall backwards. And that's kind of the goal. And that's what's going to lead to better squat control and depth. So this might be a bit of a mobility exercise to begin with when you squat, or if you do it in a prescriptive sense, it'll just become more your natural. But now, as I go down, there's more weight in my heels, and I can squat down without feeling like I need to sink forward into my toes and my heels come off the ground. So really nice exercise. There's going to be some other qualities there around breathing, but in the sense of building squat depth or sagittal balance or forward and backwards balance, it's a really, really good exercise for building awareness there. Like I said, start off with maybe 15 seconds if that's what you got. Build up to minute holds, progress into a wider step count once your pelvis is the same height as your knees. And then eventually you might get into like a 7-step, and then you're working out into side split territory, or maybe 3 steps enough, and you just bring it into your squat. So, any questions, please ask. Otherwise, enjoy. This is a good one. If you like this video, then please hit like below. Otherwise, to check out more of our content in the future, you can subscribe to our channel by clicking our logo over here. And to check out our latest video, click up here.